Hello, testing, testing. I keep losing my. Oh, that's why. Hello, we're just waiting on our co-hosts and our author. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. Let's see. Hi, we're the Mystery Thriller Book Club, and we're just waiting on our author spotlight, JE Rowney, and my co-hosts, Jennifer Ruffs and Addison Michael. I'm HK Christie, and I am one of the members of the Mystery Thriller Book Club. So just stay tuned. We're going to be interviewing JE Rowney, and one lucky winner will get a copy of her new book, The Other Passenger. At the end of the hour, there will be a trivia to be able to win that book. So let's give us a few minutes and we'll get started. Looks like we have one of our co-hosts, Addison Michael, joining us.
Hello.
Hi, Addison. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Perfect.
Yay.
Okay.
How's it going?
Good. Good. I'm in the middle of doing a final read through of my new book. So,
Oh, yeah. Me too.
yeah, mine goes to my ARC team tonight. So I've got
Oh,
a, yeah, final,
well.
final. Um, is yours book two in your new series that you're working on?
Yeah, and it's not actually my final edit. I've got I just did my rewrites and it's about to go to another editor. And that was supposed to happen yesterday. Not there yet.
Not there yet.
Oh. We're close.
We're close.
Like we've almost got
Like
JE
we've
Rowney
almost
on.
got JE Rowney on.
Almost. Can you hear me but not see me?
I can.
I can.
Now I can see you.
Now I can see you.
Here I am.
Okay. I'm getting an echo on
I'm
my.
getting an echo on my.
On you?
Yeah, I'm getting on me.
Yeah, I'm getting on me.
Are you echoing from me or are you echoing from you?
I think it's just my voice
I
echoing
think it's
now.
just my voice echoing now.
I think it's all. Yeah, I think it's all.
Yeah, I think it's all.
Oh, I hear my own too.
Oh, I hear my own too.
Yeah. I can't hear an echo on my end. There you go.
Let's see if we can.
See if
Each
we can.
each time we troubleshoot something new.
Troubleshoot something new.
Okay. You're the expert now. I have no idea. I didn't even know how to join in, so so here we are. I made it though.
See.
See.
Hello. I've just put a post on my page to say that I'm doing this. Hopefully they'll find me if anyone sees that. But
Like Jennifer is here.
Jennifer is here.
I feel like you're expert at this now, Holly. 3 weeks in, you've got it sussed.
She is. She does a good job.
She does a good job.
Yeah.
Let's see, Jennifer, did you want to join?
Jennifer, did you want to join?
She's in the comments.
She's in the comments.
I see her name.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
I don't know why I'm
don't know
echoing.
why I'm echoing.
You're not echoing to me, so maybe it's just you. I don't know.
I can hear an echo, but
Ah.
See. I wonder if it's. Are you using your computer?
no,
I'm on my laptop.
On your laptop. I wonder.
Hello.
Jennifer.
Hi everyone. What do we call J? What do we call?
JE Rowney or Jane? You can call me Jane.
Okay.
I'll be Jane
So wait,
today.
I think it could be that if you're on your laptop, it's, as I speak, the rest of us are speaking. It's coming back at us.
Okay.
Do you have like
I need to go on my phone?
you would use? Yeah. Do you want to try on your phone?
Okay. Let me switch out and in. Goodbye. And hello, goodbye.
Oh, here. Good. Thank you, JC.
Okay, so that might have been it. I'm not echoing anymore. You're not echoing. I
I'm
can't
not-
hear you at all now, Addison.
it's because I muted it. I thought that would help the echo.
I think there was feedback from her laptop, so she needs to join on her phone. Yeah. We're also going to side business of how to run lives on TikTok. No. No echo. Yeah. We'll wait for JE Rowney to join us. Thank you all for being here. We are the Mystery Thriller Book Club, and this is Mystery Thriller Monday. We're a little bit earlier today because our guest and spotlight author is JE Rowney, and she is in the UK. So we didn't make her stay up until 3 in the morning. Instead, I think it's probably 11 or 12 her time, midnight maybe.
It's 5-hour difference, so it's
5 hours from now.
11.
8, 11. We're in different time zones.
Right. That's right.
We are writers, not mathematicians.
And because it's early, I'm still drinking coffee. How are you, Jennifer?
I am so bad right now. I don't even have words. And I actually think it's TikTok's fault.
Oh no, what happened?
What did it do?
So this could just be totally a coincidence, but yesterday I posted this little picture of me saying this is my best-selling book right now, and I'm actually selling more paperbacks than ebooks. And today on Amazon I looked, and my paperback is no longer the paperback that's for sale. It's a third-party seller. So I'm spending, $100 a day, and somebody else is profiting, and I just am sick to my stomach about it. I don't know what to do. Has that ever happened to you guys?
No.
I'm so sad, and I just feel like it's because I posted that yesterday and somebody said, oh, well, I'll take advantage of that, like, I don't know how it works, but if you click on my paperback for that book, then
It's not you.
somebody else is selling it, and so that just sucks.
Have you called Amazon?
I did. I talked to Amazon, and yeah, they're like, well, anyone can sell it. Any third party can sell it. And if we make that our featured deal, so they must be selling used books. But so I guess I have to shut my ads off. I'm just super sad. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
Okay. official start. It sounds like we have maybe overcome our sound issues. JE
Is it
Rowney.
better? Are we okay now?
Yeah, I
No,
think
I
we're
think-
okay now. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We're problem solving at the Mystery Thriller Book Club. You're just joining us. We are the Mystery Thriller Book Club. I am one of the hosts, HK Christie, and we have authors Addison Michael and Jennifer Ruff, co-hosts. And today we are spotlighting our feature author of the week, which is JE Rowney, a psychological thriller author, who is going to talk to us today about her new book, The Other Passenger. So I'm just going to change this. So I'm going to put Jane in the hot seat. There you go.
Hello.
And we are going to talk to her about her new book. And stick around because at the end of the hour, we're going to have a trivia based on the interview we have of JE Rowney today. And you have a chance to win a signed copy of her new book. And so stick around, share the live, like it, all the things. We're a new book club and we're a group of authors who are sharing our love for books and talking to authors. And Jennifer's got a copy of it on her iPad of The Other Passenger. I was up at 3 a.m. personally reading it this morning because I have a little bit of an insomniac right now. So it didn't help me go back to sleep. So anyhow, so far I think it's great. Okay, so that being said, welcome and hello, Miss JE Rowney.
Hello, it's nice to be here, and thank you for coming a little bit earlier this week for me, since I'm in dark old England. I've shut the blinds already, so you can't see how like it's just got 11 here, so it's not too bad. So it's and the English contingent of the group, I think. I don't know any of the rest of us are in England, are they? So,
Where are you in the UK?
I'm on the south coast. I'm in Bournemouth, which is right. I'm like literally 2 minutes from the sea, basically. So yeah, it's really nice here.
We'll have to plan a trip to come and visit you.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to come over for the SPF conference one year, and we'll do
maybe next year. Yeah,
Sure.
maybe next year. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
So let's talk about that new book of yours, The Other Passenger, a psychological thriller. And looks like, we have another co-host going to be joining us very shortly. While you do that, why don't you go ahead and start off by telling us a little bit about The Other Passenger and what inspired the story?
Wow, what inspired this? I was writing a completely different book actually when I got the idea for The Other Passenger, and I got the idea for the plot twist first, which doesn't always happen to me, which I can't tell you about. That's how to spoil the book. But yeah, I started at the end basically with this book. I got this idea of what if, and I thought that's actually a really good idea for the story. So The Other Passenger is a nighttime thunderstorm drive with a stranger, basically. We have two main characters and not a lot of other characters in the book. Basically focus on these two characters, and we see them going through a journey on a stormy night together, a man and a stranger who picks up a young girl who's hitchhiking. And the story is told from the two different points of view, but also two timelines as well. Well, kind of three timelines, because we have the present day where we see them on their drive, and then two past tenses where we see them what they did in the previous 5 hours to get them where they are at the moment, and pretty much the mess that they've got themselves into. So it's gradually revealed what's going on and why and how they got to that point. There's a prologue which sets up what's going to happen at the end, and I love prologues, but I always see in reader groups that people always say that they skip the prologue, or they skip through it. So I was actually going to make my an author's note at the beginning to say don't skip the prologue this time because you need to know the information, but I'm going to trust readers this time. But I like a nice prologue, a nice meaty prologue.
I've never skipped a prologue. I can't imagine doing that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised
favorite.
at how many times you see that in the readers groups. Like, I don't read prologues, but
Usually it kind of tells you, especially in thrillers, what the story's going to be about. It's like the crime that then kind of sets off.
yeah.
You know what to be looking out for, and it sets the tone. So,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Do you all use prologues in your books? Have you? Those in your-
In most of them. In fact, the one I'm writing right now, I just sent it to betas, and I actually have a question. Do you think I need the prologue or not? I think it can go and it'll be okay, but I like it, and it sets the tone. You know that like it's going to get dark and creepy.
Yeah.
Usually I do. What about you guys?
I love prologues, and I think they're kind of like cheating because it for me it's the ability to go back in time, or even if it's 2 weeks before the main thing happens in chapter one, you get to go back and say, here's, like HK said, here's the crime, here's the situation, and then you go into present tense or present day. For me, that's how I write it anyway. So it's kind of like cheating. I'm giving you information before the book even begins. Um, I can't imagine doing it any other way.
Yeah, I think that as well because I think it's a way to get you into the action as well, isn't it? Because otherwise it'd be a lot of backstory about how things are going to build up. And I know some people like the slow burn, but I like to just give you a big bang to start off with and a good opening line that you can get from action that you can't really get from setting the scene. So yeah, so I like a nice
Kind of the
spicy.
hook.
Yeah,
Like, it's the hooking them into the action and making them want to read more, I
yeah,
think.
Definitely.
But I think with your prologue, Jane, your book is written in the third person.
hmm
But with your prologue, you had to do first person, so we wouldn't know
yeah.
who's talking, so we wouldn't know who it is. It's gonna creep us out with our issues.
Yeah. It could be either of the two characters or neither of them that is talking. So
Yeah, that's a
yeah, so
good way to do it.
yeah, little plot twist in the beginning. So yeah, that's a quick summary of what my book's about. So ask me some questions.
Yeah, I was actually really intrigued by the book so much. First of all, you're an amazing writer. Anything I've ever read by you, I'm like, man, I'm just really impressed with your writing. But through the whole book, I kept thinking, is this really going to be an entire book in a car with two strangers? And I think really in the present day, until the very end, they're in the car.
Yeah,
And I'm so impressed by that because how do you make an entire story out of a car ride? It's not even that long of a car ride either.
But
So
then you
that
had the other characters,
flashing
what had
back.
just happened to them in the past few hours, and I loved those stories. I especially loved. I know that something had happened.
it sounds like there's a plane in my house.
Oh my
It's
god.
normal in England. It's fine. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's why the past tense and the build up as well, like helps to break up that car ride, doesn't it? And I kind of wrote each separate part as I went. So I wrote all of the girl's story, all of the man's story, and then I wrote all of the car story because I wanted to like make sure I kept like on track of what I was doing. But yeah, so yeah, it is one
That's
solid
exciting.
car ride, but also it's just broken up by those little things that got them to that point. So yeah,
I want to see the book.
Yeah.
That's my cat wants to see the book, so I
that's
love
Do you
this.
have a copy?
I have a
There we go.
paperback here. I also have a hardback of this one that I've made that it doesn't seem to be available anywhere at the moment, so I'm going to put it on my website, I think, for sale. But let's go.
I love that cover. I just think
Thank
it
you.
captures the mood of the book so well.
Yeah. A wet person on a road. Yeah. Yeah. I like covers. I'd be a cover designer if I wasn't an author, I think. I love
Oh, so do you do your own?
I do, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you do? You did this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I did
wow.
I did publishing at university. I did a master's in publishing, so they taught us how to use all the software and how to put things together. So
Oh, that's
and a bit of
amazing.
practice. But yeah.
I would love to be able to do that. Like right now, I'm waiting on a cover design and I didn't really like the first take and I'm like so nervous. I'm like, oh, should I just go with it? Or,
Yeah.
it causes me so much anxiety. How wonderful to be able to bring your own vision to life just how you want it. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I do the same though. Like the first like 5 or 6 tries that I make of any cover, I'm always like, it's good, but it's not the one. And I just keep reiterizing it until I get the one that I want. And they sometimes start off completely different from how they end up. I should put a thing on TikTok one day and maybe show some of the covers that I've had and and how I end up with the final result because it was quite different. And I had a black and white cover at one point, and yeah, it was all a bit different. I settled this one, and I love it. So yeah.
So do people with your books, do they sometimes have happy endings? Do you think readers like do they know what to expect with your books? Because this is the first book I've read by you.
I tend to have, without giving any spoilers for this book, because this
Right.
might be one that does this, but I suppose I'm known for having more like open endings, which some people love and some people absolutely hate. So like I like to treat readers as intelligent humans who can interpret things themselves. So in a few of my books, it'll have an ending that could be interpreted as someone does one thing or another thing, or maybe just leave it open for what might happen. So yeah, it's Marmite. Like people love it or hate it, but
And
yeah.
how many books have you written in this genre?
In this genre, this is my 8th thriller now. So my 15th book. I wrote women's fiction before I turned to the dark side, as I like to call it. So yeah, and my women's fiction books didn't always have happy endings either. I think I was always veering towards like to getting darker and darker. So yeah, I started writing thrillers.
Do you find that your women's fiction like sort of background helps inform your psychological thrillers? Like, do you find that there's any kind of crossover? Because a lot of psychological thrillers like have female characters that are going through life circumstances similar to a women's fiction book, or do you think they're just completely separate for you?
I think I just took the next step darker, really, because my women's fiction, like I say, they weren't really all happy endings books. There were people like who were struggling with things and going through stuff, you know. So this is just like taking it to the next level and giving them a bit more stuff to go through, I suppose, a bit more trauma. Not that some of the women's fiction ones weren't traumatic, but yeah. So I think definitely it's kind of on the same scale. So you start off with the people going through a few bits and pieces, and then now it's just like just pile the pressure on, just put them into the worst situation you can possibly put them in. And I kind of did that with this book, really. This is basically 2 people who are having the worst night of their lives, and then we just made it worse for them, basically. So, just like,
I don't know about you guys, but I don't think thriller is really a genre where we want a happily ever after. It's just not the type of book. And, I talk to people at festivals. Sometimes people will come to my booth and they'll say, does it have an HEA, a happily ever after? And I'll go, no, it's not romance. And I like romance. I read it myself, but sometimes I say that HEA is kind of like what is he writing? Like it's to say, and they live happily ever after. Like nobody lives happily ever after. Come on, stop it.
Well, I think for like my genre and Jennifer's in yours, Addison too. I think that when you're like I write, PI and detective thrillers where the HEA in our genre is like justice is served, right? The bad guys are caught, the missing are found. Like I think it's a different kind of HEA. There's, not like the romance, like they run off into the sunset because it's usually a bittersweet ending, right? It's like the person's still dead, but we found their killer and they're going to jail, or they didn't quite make the standoff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think one of my thrillers has a sort of happy ever after. The book swap is quite, people have called it a cozy thriller, which I've never heard of before. It's not a cozy mystery, not that sort of cozy thriller, but a cozy thriller. So a bit like an introduction to the genre, basically. Like if you just want to try a thriller, but you don't want something that's full on like, gory or super tense. It's like more for people who are just exploring the genre maybe, or just want something a bit softer. But that has kind of a happy ending, so as close as I'll ever get, probably.
With the books I read, I definitely don't need a happy ending, but I like to have closure. I like to have all the questions that came up answered in a way that I understand and I feel satisfied with. That's all I need.
Yeah.
And this book did that.
Oh, good.
Definitely.
Well, don't give anything away because I have not finished it yet.
I know. I kind of wish this was like a book club discussion where we can assume everyone listening read it, because I have specific things I want to talk about and we can't talk about them because they're spoilers. But
yeah.
So that's a great idea for a future mystery thriller Monday. right?
Yeah.
I mean, to have book club. I think we're putting together, and it was actually JE Rowney's idea to put together a summer reading challenge, where maybe each week we could discuss one of the books on the summer reading challenge, or once a month, or not a month because summer's only 3 months, but we could actually have those book club discussions. I'm all for it. Does anybody in the comments think that that would be an interesting topic to read along with us and talk about the books, like a real book club, not just virtual?
I've always wanted to join a book club. We tried to have a book club like with some people I know, but I read a terrible book and nobody else read it. And after that, I was like, no, I'm not going to put myself through this anymore. But I'd love to have like a virtual book club and to do it with you guys and chat about the books, especially we all like the same kind of things, you know.
I've always wanted to join a book club too. That's why I was really excited when we had the idea for this one, to not only share our love of books, but actually to talk about them too, and talking with authors. Looks like Kat is definitely down for being part of our book club and discussing books with us. Excellent, Kat.
Brilliant.
Good. Good. Yeah, that would be fun. I know as an author, when you do book signings, you're just kind of talking about yourself and tempting people to read the book, but it's so much more fun when people have read it. Well, a different kind of fun, but when you can get into the nitty gritty and discuss motives and
Absolutely. And for those just joining us, we're about 20 minutes into our live. We are discussing The Other Passenger right now with author JE Rowney. It's her new release, a psychological thriller. And we're talking about her book today. And if you stick around to the end of the hour, there will be a trivia and a chance to win a signed copy of The Other Passenger by JE Rowney. And for those just joining, do you want to recap just a quick, since we have a lot of new people coming in? Oh, looks like Empress Ellie just read Other People's Lives yesterday. This is another one of J.E. Rowney's books.
Thank you, Ellie. I hope you enjoyed it. Yes. Lovely. Well, you must enjoy it if you want to read the next one. It's this one's quite twisty as well. I think Other People's Lives is probably the twistiest book that I've ever written, but this is it's getting there, I think. It's on the same lines.
What do you mean by that? The number of twists or like the unexpectedness?
The extent of the twist. I've never read anything like the twist that I wrote, and I've never written anything that's come close to it. So, yeah.
So how does it compare to like The House Sitter? Because that's the last one I think I read of yours. I've read a couple of other ones, but how would you compare it to like The House Sitter?
I think the House Sitter and probably like The Book Swap and Gaslight are more domestic type thrillers, whereas I think The Other Passenger and Other People's Lives are definitely more psychological. It definitely goes a lot more into the minds of people and the thoughts, and the twists more about the people and how the people respond to being in terrible situations, basically. So yeah, it's a lot more sort of psychological. Yeah.
So Kat has requested, could you read a small sample, maybe the first opening chapter?
I could read a prologue if you like.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. All right.
Well, one of you could read the prologue if you like. I'm not very good at reading.
I'm not good at reading out loud.
All right. I can read if you like. It's only 2 pages of prologue. So.
It's just 2 pages. You read it because when I read this, I told the group already that I read it with your voice in mind. Like it was a British narrator when I was reading this book, and so I think you should read it.
Yeah, I think I said as well that the narrator that's doing the audio book at the moment is American. So
oh, interesting.
So this is your only chance to hear it in an English accent. Okay, all right. I'll read the prologue for you then. Okay. She's still looking at me, half an hour after I killed her, just staring like she can't believe it. The air feels heavy, like it's thickened with her disbelief. My phone's light cuts through the dark, casting long shadows that seem to reach for me. Paranoia, it must be. I don't know how you're supposed to feel when you've done what I have, but being this on edge seems normal under the circumstances. I'm trying to be rational, trying to reason, but all I can think is, what the hell am I meant to do now? The forest around us is dead silent. No comforting rustles or whispers, just a heavy quiet that presses down on me. My heart's racing, but not from fear. It's adrenaline still pumping, refusing to settle. The ground beneath my feet is as hard and cold, unforgiving as my actions. Leaves crunch underfoot as I shift. the sound too loud in the silence. Even though we're out here, far from the nearest town, miles from the last person I saw, the paranoia has me thinking someone's listening, watching. Someone knows what I've done. The thought makes me turn my head, scan the tree line. There's nothing. There's no one. Even if there was, I wouldn't be able to see. The light from my phone only shines so far. It doesn't reach the skeletal trees. All it lets me see is her face, staring, still staring. I look down at her again, those eyes wide open, accusing, seem to pierce through me. It's surreal just how she stares, unblinking. I have to move to do something, but I'm frozen, caught in her gaze as if she's asking me, why? I should crouch beside her, swipe my fingers over her eyelids. That's what happens on television, isn't it? Somehow, I can't bring myself to touch her and bring down the final curtains. Imagine him picking up my fingerprints from the one part of her I had to touch. Them, whoever they are, because there will be a them. Bodies are discovered, crimes are investigated, murderers are. The thought of the word makes a heavy ball form in my throat, and I have to look away, shine my light on the ground. I need darkness. I need this silence. I need a plan. The chill of the night starts to seep in, a cold reminder of what's done. I can't stand here forever. I've already waited too long.
See, it's amazing writing.
Thank you. There you go. I hope you could translate my accent. All right.
So, JE, how do you hope your readers will feel when they're reading your book?
Intrigued, and that they just want to keep reading, that you want to keep turning the pages to find out exactly how that person ended up being a body and not a person. I want them to just feel like engage with the characters and want to get to know more about the characters. Feel a lot of things. I like to have multiple emotions, so you don't always know whether the people in the stories are good people or bad people. And I think that the two main characters in this book are a bit of both, really. So yeah, I think you want to make decisions for yourself about what you think about the moral compasses of the people involved in that book, because it's not always clear cut, just like humans aren't always clear cut. So yeah, I just want people to think, I think. Yeah.
So did you have an inspiration for your characters based on anything in particular, or a goal you had with each of the characters?
Well, I had the plot twist first.
Yeah,
so I knew that the two people that were going to be involved in this were going to be a man and a girl. And the girl has some elements of my daughter, who kept asking me to put her in a book, and I was like, I like terrible people. You don't want to be a character in my book. But there's little bits of her, like the girl that's the main character in the book has a tattoo on her arm that says everything happens for a reason, which is my daughter's tattoo. And so she kind of inspired me. And also the very messy bedroom that features at one point in the book is potentially it's my daughter. She's 19, she's 20 next month, which, you know.
Has she read the book yet?
No, she's not read any of my books yet. My husband's really good. Like he'll go and sit and he'll read through the whole thing and tell me how much he loves it, of course. But my daughter, no. Even though I said, like, you're kind of in this book, she's like, I've not got her into it yet. I'm not got into it.
I understand. I've mentioned so many of my family members are named in all of my books. That's how I know none of them read my book. Everyone I know has been in a book.
Yeah. Funny. We could end up in your books as well.
When you were writing the book, were you picturing anyone particular for the character of David? Were you picturing like a movie star or someone you'd want to play the role?
No, I never really think of it in those terms. I see it in my head, and I know in my mind what they look like, but I try not to make them look like anyone that I know. Or I'm just like, I picture what they're like, and I know that I've kind of based that around my daughter, but I know the character doesn't really look like her. You know, I try to be really original, and so when they make a film of all my books, they're gonna have to find someone, you know.
If you were to make a movie out of this book, which I think would actually make, so far what I've read, I think you could see it as like a heart-pounding thriller that you would, you know, who would you cast as the main characters?
I'm terrible. You know, I don't really watch many many films. I don't know if people have anymore. You know, I probably have. I'd probably choose someone that I'd like to meet. So.
Okay. So you could work with them on set.
But no, you choose. What do you think, based so far? Who do you see in David's role? I mean, he's
He's middle-aged, right?
Middle-aged, but he's wearing a tux for the majority of the book. So that,
Yeah.
so I could picture that easily, you know, because we all know what a tux looks like. And he was just very well groomed, and he was handsome. I don't know if you ever said he was handsome, but he was in my head. But I didn't have like a physical face for him. Did you guys? Whenever I write, I try and pick out a movie star who will play my characters, because I feel like, you know, just having that goal in mind might be a good thing, but it's hard to do. I always come up with Blake Lively for everything. Everybody's Blake Lively for every woman.
I think Brett, we have another co-host who's part of our Mystery Thriller Book Club. Brett, are you on?
I am on. I was able to get it to work with my phone and not my laptop, so I'm still working on getting a picture.
I think one of our lessons learned today is you can't join on your laptop.
Yeah.
There's sound issues, there's joining issues. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome, Brett.
Thank you.
He's a member of our Mystery Thriller Book Club, and one of the co-hosts will also be asking our featured author, JE Rowney, about her new book, The Other Passenger. So if you're just joining, that's what we're talking about, is The Other Passenger. And stick around towards the end, because there will be a trivia, and so one person will be able to win a copy of The Other Passenger by JE Rowney, a psychological thriller that is sure to take up an entire day and you ruin all your plans, basically, because you'll finish reading it. So go ahead and like the live, share it with others. We are the Mystery Thriller Book Club, and we are here every Monday for Mystery Thriller Mondays. Okay, back to the book. We're talking about movies, and actually with Brett on, it's great because Brett used to make movies. And we're talking about casting for J.E. Rowney's new book. And I think, did we come up with a leading man for him? No? Not yet.
Nobody's chasing me one yet. Maybe I'll just have to audition them, you know, just meet up with the reasonably attractive leading males and see what happens. Yeah.
I'm thinking like a younger Brad Pitt, but I think, I don't know a lot of the younger actors now, but Brad Pitt's probably too old for the role, I would think.
He's too old now, yeah, but
He's
maybe.
Him like 20 years ago, I could see it.
Yeah. Or younger Daniel Craig. I can see like a younger Daniel Craig, maybe.
Yeah.
They're too old now. I'm not too old as well, because I need like a 21-year-old actress. Who is there these days? That's like...
I don't know.
I sit at home and read books. I don't watch films anymore.
Yeah, maybe Selena Gomez. I always would like her to be in one of my movies, I think. One of my characters is named after her, so I think that she could play the character.
Somebody's
Putting it out there, Selena Gomez. I have a movie for you.
Your movies will be first, for sure.
So let me ask you, in what, JE, what aspect of the book are you most proud of?
I think the way that I got the plot twist to come out in the end, really, because that's what started me off. So, like, building a whole book up to that point, and then for it to happen naturally and to kind of take people by surprise is usually my proudest moment, that I get the idea to work that I started off with. Yeah. So whatever else happens in the book, you know, whatever happens at that point is great. But when I can get that twist to work, then I'm the most happy, probably. Yeah.
Do you outline your books, or do you just are discovery writer and you just sit down and write and it just the ideas come?
Yeah, I'm pretty much a discovery writer, but for this book I had to plan it a lot more because of the different timelines, and because there's like things happening like an hour before, 2 hours before, you know, going back to 5 hours before the present. So I had to have I had to have it a lot more planned out than I did usually. So this is probably one of my most planned planned books so far. Yeah, but it was kind of good in the way that it gave me that structure, like knowing how many or what was going to happen and how many hours I was covering it over. So that gave me the plan in itself. I'm usually a complete pantser. I just go with it. Yeah, and there's one
Yeah.
part as well, which when I started writing this book, I was writing a different book, and I started writing that book to write this one because the idea came to me and I had to go with it. And there's a scene in this book which is the thing that is a catalyst for the other book. So it's kind of when you read the next book, then you'll recognise it from this book, which is also
Oh, interesting.
a
Do you know
world
when you?
crossing.
I know you just released this book on Friday, but do you know when your next book comes out? It sounds like you're already kind of working on it.
It probably won't be till September because I'm going to be away throughout August. So I think I'm going to try and get it finished for September, basically, and get it out then. So that'll be the next one. But I'm writing now, so maybe it'll be sooner. Who knows? I can get it out before I go away. But
It sounds like everyone needs to read this right now. Then.
Yeah.
yeah, yes, read it now. Yes, definitely.
So is it a spinoff? Is it a book two? Is it just like, can you read them individually?
I mean, individual. Like, all my books happen in the same universe, basically. So everything that happens in one book could be influenced by something else. So David, who's the main character in the book, works for a company that's mentioned in The Work Retreat, my last book that I wrote. So none of that book's mentioned. He works with a company that the people in The Work Retreat were working with in the book, but that company is mentioned quite a few times. And he works for them, and everyone in all my books always goes to exactly the same brand of coffee shops, which is Coffee Express, because I can't be bothered to make up lots of different names for things. So within the same uniform, within the same universe, everyone goes to the same branch of coffee shops. And
Was there a town mentioned? I can't remember. Is there a city or a specific
I
town?
live in Maple something.
Maplewood. Maplewood.
Maplewood isn't in the other books. Maplewood's a little town that's beyond where.
Is it set in the UK?
It's set in a place. It's not ever specifically because yeah, I don't want to pin them down to be in the UK. It's in my mind. It's somewhere in Yorkshire because I come from Yorkshire originally, and there's lots of dark moors and woods. And I used to make the journey over a 30-mile stretch of moors when I had a full-time proper job and I wasn't an author. And so I'd taken this nighttime drive many times where I'd see the same scenery that is in The Other Passenger. So it's very familiar to me that all the background, all the backdrop, and I could kind of describe pretty much everywhere that I put into the book. So technically it's the Yorkshire Moors, but a different version of it that has had things happen, I suppose. Although the North Yorkshire Moors do have quite a few bad things happen. So. But yeah, it's just bits of the real universe put into a sort of cauldron of a fictional JE Rowney universe. Yeah.
That's good. Then no one can tell you got something wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly. If I don't say this is exactly where it is, then yeah, because you won't find some things. Yeah.
Can you tell us the title of the next book yet?
At the moment, the working title is Safe at Home.
Home. And implying that they're possibly not safe at home. Right?
Well, we will see, won't we? she thinks she is, but
A good title.
So I'm really interested in something you said earlier when you were talking about you wrote each storyline first, and there were 3 different storylines.
yeah.
So what I'm noticing a lot right now is in different like Netflix series, I feel like that's probably how they start out, but then they, similar to what you did, they mess with the timeline and they move things around. So you have to know that, I guess I assume that they have written the story out before they've started messing with the timeline. And so it's really intriguing. And I'm thinking of How to Get Away with Murder. I don't know if anyone's seen that yet, but it's so fun. Love it. But, it starts off with like the very end, and then it goes way back in time to the beginning of the story, depending on where they're at. and then it shows just a little bit more and more and more of the end until you get to the last episode and it all makes sense. And so that's so intriguing to me. I don't think my brain works that way, but it sounds like maybe yours does.
Yeah, I think for me that was a good way of keeping things on track, basically, and knowing what they were doing from one scene to the next, and keeping their journey sort of real, basically, because I didn't want them to be doing one thing and then it just completely cuts to something different that doesn't link up. So for the purpose of like keeping it real, keeping the story flowing and together, that I wanted to write it like as they experienced it, I suppose. So I could just keep like on the same sort of emotional level and keep the pace of the three different lines that are going on, basically David past, Emma past, and the present day. Yeah.
Somebody's asked, what's the new book about? And since we have had several people join us since we started, maybe do you want to read just the blurb
The blurb.
so
Oh,
that
okay.
people
Of the
get
other
it?
passenger? Yeah, there we go.
The passenger. So the blurb starts with a rainy night, a killer on the road, two unlikely worlds collide. On the run from their pasts, a man and a woman are forced together by the weather and by necessity. When a radio news broadcast reports a body's been found further back along the road on which they're travelling, tensions rise, and it's only so long before the truth must come out. But the truth is never quite what you would imagine.
Intriguing.
So yeah, basically it's a thunderstorm, road trip, stranger danger. Basically, it's kind of no exit and run on red and all the road trip sort of things that you like, but tense and wet.
Yeah.
Dan is asking if this goes 1 hour. Yes, it does. It was 6 to 7, or well,
Depending on your time zone.
yeah.
11 till 12 if you're in England.
Yes, 20 minutes left. I think Dan's in Italy, right?
Okay. So
Okay.
it's maybe an hour behind me or in front of
Where
me.
in the world is Dan Torre?
Yeah. Maybe it's Spain. Dan, where are you? Italy, right? Is that right?
He's in Paris. Yeah.
Nice. I wish I was in Paris.
I know.
Midnight. Oh, he said it's
Suppose-
midnight, 1 a.m. thinking, oh, Paris.
Midnight. Yeah, an hour.
Wow.
Nice. We are truly
So-
international. tonight.
Yeah. We're global, the Mystery Thriller Book Club.
Yeah.
So for when you're writing this one, because you said it was a little bit different for you this time because you typically are a total pantser, discovery writer, and you had to do a little bit of plotting because of the different storylines. Did you find yourself getting stuck? Did the book take you longer to write than your other books? And if so, how did you get past that?
No, I don't really ever get stuck. I mean, if I ever get stuck, I don't always write in a linear way, like I wrote this one. And even though I kind of wrote each path of the timeline together, I didn't always start at the beginning and keep going. So I tend to write the scenes that I know that are going to happen, and then fill in the bits that get me there. So if I ever get stuck, I just go and work on a different part of it. So I never really get writer's block or anything. I get speaker's block apparently, but I don't get writer's block. I just kind of write another part of the story that I know is going to happen and go back to it later and try and work it out.
Does anybody else on here get writer's block? Jennifer?
I don't know if you call it writer's block. More like don't know what to do next. Is that writer's block?
I don't know if it's block. I get that too, where it's like I just need to step away from it because I'm not sure. Because it's like writing detective mysteries. It's like you got to figure out how are they going to solve this, but in a way that's not super obvious and like throwing in other things. It's like how am I going to get to this thing,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
I always write the story, like the crime part. I always write that separately than the investigation part because the crime part is so much fun. It's basically like writing a psychological thriller, and it just flows. And it can't be wrong. It's just what the criminal does. And then when I get to the investigation part, it slows down so much as you try and figure out, well, what would they do next? What could they do? What should they do? How do they do it? And then trying to make that as interesting as possible. So, yeah, it's usually the investigative parts where I am kind of stumped.
How do you usually get past that?
How do I get past it?
Yeah.
It's usually just a matter of time. But I do spend a lot of time just revising and revising and revising. And suddenly it comes to me like before I get to what it's going to be, I go through a lot of iterations that aren't very good until I'm like, this is what it is. And that comes for me easiest just by writing, writing. And every single book I have what I call a dump file. I don't think you have this, JE. If you are writing, or if you're going to finish a book by September, I think you're a lot more efficient than me. But I always have a dump file where I just keep cutting out the stuff I don't want anymore. And sometimes that's like 18,000 words that I've like cut and dumped and not used, which is terrible. But that's how it is. It is what
How
it
about
is.
you? How about you, Addison? Do you get writer's block or get stumped?
I usually say I don't believe in writer's block, but I will say closer to my daughter's wedding, I was having a really hard time writing. And it was just that I was using my brain to problem solve. And so many nitpicky little things were coming up that I just couldn't make myself create. So it's rare for me, but I did experience it then. Typically, this isn't quite the same, but I would more call it writing myself into a corner. And I actually like to do that. And if I can do it on purpose, it's even better. It does slow me down because for about 2 or 3 days, I have to figure out, like in book 4 of my first series, I literally had my characters in a closet. And I was like, how are they going to get out of the closet? Like, really? I can't figure out how to get them out of the closet for like days. And then it took a really fun twist, but, and I didn't expect it. And so sometimes I'll do it on purpose and I'll write something like, I'm bored. What's the weirdest thing that can happen here? And then and then I'll stick for a day or two on the solution to it. So. Yeah.
I always make a big list on top of my manuscript of the things that I still need to figure out. How does Victoria find this? What leads them from A to B? And I kind of go back to those every day so that I can kind of fresh in my mind when I'm not writing. Like, here are the things that if I don't figure out, I can't finish this book. Do you guys do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I either use sticky notes or put it on my whiteboard. One or the other. I'll be like, okay, this is going to happen. So I got to figure out how that's going to happen. But as a reminder, I forget everything these days. So it's like sticky notes, whiteboard, it has to be written down.
People are saying where they're from, which is really interesting. Everybody go ahead and say where you're from. I'm wondering if there's anyone else in the UK, and there's people in New York City. There's
Washington State.
all different places.
Jackson, Nevada. Got some West Coast representation. I'm in California. JC, I think, is in Washington.
Mississippi.
We got Mississippi.
I'm in
Tampa
Charlotte,
and
North
Paris.
Carolina.
I'm in Missouri.
Nice.
Interesting.
Virginia. Got Brett in Virginia. All right, so we have 12 minutes left on our live today. We're talking with JE Rowney about her new book, The Other Passenger. We are the Mystery Thriller Book Club. And if you've been with us all this time, then you will be ready shortly in about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less than 10 minutes, to answer the trivia to see if you will win a copy of The Other Passenger signed by JE Rowney, the author herself. Any kind of thing you want to throw out there, James, that is, we could try to test the audience in about 10 minutes to see if they're paying attention.
I have got a question, I think, that I'm going to ask them. I think it'll be okay. I've mentioned some things that I'll. And if they've read the book as well, then they're the answers. So we'll see. I've got some other bits as well for the giveaway, not just a signed book. I've got these. I've got the super cute. I don't know if you can see them. So.
Door hangers?
Oh, a door hanger.
I'm
reading. Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't it nice?
Oh, I love
I've got
it.
a stack of these, so I'm going to give one of these away as well. And I've got a little bookmark too, which I'm going to send.
Oh,
What's
that's cool.
What's on the back? Is
It's
there a
just-
back?
That's the same. It just hangs on your door and tells people to leave you alone so you can finish reading, and that's got nothing on it.
That's great.
I can sign it. I can sign
Do you
it.
bring those with you when you're traveling in hotels, Jane?
I should do, shouldn't I? I will do. I will do. When I get to Vegas, I will.
Yeah.
You need to
I'll be
put
one.
a list of all your books on the back of that bookmark.
Get them to tick them when they finish reading. Do not disturb. I need to read all these books.
Like a
You're
reading
right.
list. Don't open
Yeah.
it until these books have been read.
Yeah.
Maybe we get one for our reading challenge. Maybe we have a do not disturb. I'm finishing the reading challenge.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
That
yeah.
to give to everybody.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
they're not very expensive to make, so yeah, we could do.
All right.
Yeah. Be neat.
I like that.
That would be neat, and encourage people to show their things on their TikToks when they get them and
Yeah.
tag. That would be fun.
We got a
Dan-
couple of questions from Dan,
Oh, so
and he's asking, who's your favorite villain in your books? And which book is it in?
I'm my favourite villain in my books. The things I do to the characters is probably the most evil. My favourite villain in my books. Oh gosh, have I got a villain? Everyone's a villain in my books. I don't know. I think people just do things to each other. I don't think I have like a main villain. And if I told you the villain, then I'd give the plots away. So it's probably just me.
That's true.
Yeah.
Dan, that was a spoiler question.
I think in The Other Passenger, I think they're both villains. Everyone's villains in my book. Either everyone is or nobody is, and you don't find out until the end. So,
Nobody's innocent.
exactly.
He is also asking, what's the hardest part of writing for you?
At the beginning, every time the beginning, like when I first start a new book, like writing that first page, like knowing like when to start. And when I started writing The Other Passenger, I started writing from the beginning of chapter 1, and then I read through it and I'm like, well, that's not a very exciting start. I need something to punch people into it. And I guess that's where the prologue came from, that I wanted that action and get people moving. So once I kind of go back and realize what I need to put in to get people excited in it, then it's a lot easier. And then I find that I can just write and write and write once I've got the thing. I described it in one of my books as like, you know, when you get those like hanging monkeys in a barrel, and you get one monkey and then you can hang other monkeys on it. And that's what I say my writing process is like hanging monkeys. Once you've got the first little monkey there, you can put all the other monkeys on it. And when you haven't got the first monkey, it's like, where do I hang my monkeys?
So does that mean that you always write like in order? Like you don't skip like you write each chapter in order? Well, like you.
No, I don't always, but I like to have a starting point. I like to know where it's going to start. But no, I don't. I tend not to write in order. I tend to write here, there, everywhere. Like if I know what's going to happen.
Oh.
But yeah, so I couldn't really write the plot twist scene. I knew that was going to happen until I knew other things that were going to happen up to there in this book. So, yeah, so I had to know what my starting point was this time.
So Dan, as a clarification on his question, he doesn't want you to say which is your favorite villain, but what is your favorite book that you've written?
My favourite book with a villain. My favourite book that I've written is probably Other People's Lives. Just because, as I said before, like the plot twist was just like, which always people ask me about because a lot of people don't get the plot twist. But I have so many emails about my plot twist in that book that I am explaining quite often to people. And if people do want to email me, feel free. I'm there for it. But yeah, but that's my favourite, definitely.
Well, that's the one I'm going to read next then.
Yeah.
Good. It's a good book.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
can we go back to the villain question? But I want to say, and I swear I will not give any spoilers, but my new favorite villain in a book that I've read recently is actually the title of your book, Jennifer, The Numbers Killer. I love the villain in The Numbers Killer.
Oh,
Love her. She's so interesting and so intriguing, and I could see how your brain would skip around like that.
oh, thank you.
You know, I'm going to assume she has OCD, but anyway, super. I just thought she was so well done. And can you hear the dogs barking? I'm so sorry, guys. But anyway, I absolutely love the numbers killer villain. That is my new favorite, and I'm going to mute myself here.
Thank you. I mean, villains, don't you think are absolutely the most fun to write? It is just to be in their heads, and it's just so fun and fascinating. I love villains for
I
sure.
found
I
that
don't have,
I have a harder time writing them these days because I kind of switched mostly to writing like the victims or the missing or the person that it happened to. And I'm in one of my in my new series, I'm writing a villain, and I'm like, yeah, he's creepy. Yeah, he's weird. Like it's kind of like I'm finding I'm struggling more with that character now than I do with my other characters. I don't know. I went too soft, I guess, for a while. Okay, one last question for Jane before we do our trivia. We'll go ahead and take Dan's question, which is, who is your favorite author, JE Rowney?
My favourite thriller author is probably Gillian Flynn, who got me into reading thrillers, and I just wish she'd write more books because where is she? Come on, like 3 solid books, 1 short book, and she's just absent. She's off doing TV stuff and not thinking about us. So yeah, that's she really got me into thrillers, and yeah, definitely
Nice.
Gillian Flynn.
Okay, so with 5 minutes left, we are going to do our trivia for some lucky viewer to win a copy of The Other Passenger. So, what's our question, JE Rowney?
The question is, what are the names of the 2 main characters, the man and the girl, in The Other Passenger? I have mentioned it. You can go and Google it quickly. But you can win all these lovely little bits and pieces, and I'll sign whichever parts you want me to sign. And anyone can enter, no matter where you are. I'm sending things internationally, so.
where else can people get your book and that swag? Like, can they buy it from a TikTok shop or your website?
No, I don't have a TikTok shop, but you can buy the book in paperback, hardback, ebook, Kindle Unlimited on Amazon, and all good online bookshops. Audiobook's going to be out in a couple of weeks, hopefully. It's just being finished, so yes. But I think I'm going to put the hardback onto my website as well shortly. Because it's
Does the audiobook have, is there a female narrator?
just a female narrator. I usually just have one. But, Nobody knows the answer. One of you will have to win it.
We've got a bunch of people on.
Yes.
They must just be Googling.
Yeah, that's fine.
Don't want to get it wrong.
Oh, I had to think about the female character.
Ah,
Yeah, the female character, I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
of
But
course, Ellie says, is it David and Emma?
Yeah, Ellie's got it. That's right.
All right, winner!
What if somebody could have called her 21? Anyway.
Yes, that would also work. That's so other.
I love
Right.
that line in the book when she's like, I prefer you call me 21. I've gotten to that part. I like that.
Yeah, good.
Congratulations, Empress Ellie. Ellie, it's a great name.
Congratulations. This will be going to you. I'm sure Holly will tell me how to get the deets so I can send it on.
Make a note so I can give her the deets.
The deets.
Hey. All right.
I'm going to try and come and be one of the co-hosts in the future. I know it's like an hour later, but if I'm up, I will be in one of the small boxes and I'll come in and help out.
Yeah, I don't think we have someone lined up for next week yet, but your host will be the author in 2 weeks. So on the 17th, I will be in the hot seat talking about my new book that I need to finish and send to my art team tonight, which is what I'll do exactly as soon as I get off this live. Back to that. So, but next week there will be a mystery thriller Monday. Next week we may or may not have an author interview. If not, we will probably be talking about our summer reading challenge that we're going to be putting together, or it could be a general discussion about books. We'll see.
Villains.
Villains. Oh yeah, that'd be a good topic. villains. So
Or you can suggest
thank
something.
you, Kat.
Let us know, right?
Yeah,
And
anyone have
we'll
suggestions?
talk
Like,
about it.
anybody
Oh,
want?
we should send out a post like that from the Mystery Thriller Book Club asking for suggestions about what people want to, what do you want to know, and what questions you have for authors, thriller authors.
Oh, Dan's getting censored.
Yeah.
He's got a comment that he's being censored twice.
I wonder why. Dan, why did you get censored? What did you do?
You got to watch your language, Dan.
Oh, more dogs.
Yeah, he wants his walk.
Everyone has pets apart from me. I don't have a.
Can't say on a library. Yeah, no, you can't.
We've said those things a lot. I don't know how we get away with it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that they're. I think speaking it may be different than writing it. I don't know if their AI is. Which before we
So
go, have you noticed on your Facebook ads that there's now an AI summary of all the comments on your Facebook ads?
No.
Yeah, they have that now, kind of like on Amazon, how the AI summary of all your reviews. I found them on my Facebook ads recently. I did a screenshot. I was like, what is this?
I don't
Yeah.
even know what you mean. Like that where like bots are common?
No, have you seen on Amazon how there's now an AI summary of all your reviews? You don't look at your reviews, I think.
Yeah,
There's an AI summary
Oh.
above all of your, like, not on everyone's, but if you have enough reviews, there's an AI summary about your reviews. Those are now showing up on Facebook ads.
Oh, like where it.
I can in our group. I'll send you a screenshot of what mine did on my Facebook ad because I was the first time I've ever seen it. And I was like, whoa. Just thought I'd tell you I sent your other authors on here. And it's sort of interesting, but yeah. Okay. Any other topics? I mean, we're over time by 1 minute. Thank you so much, JE Rowney, for joining us so late in the UK, and for Jennifer Ruff and Addison Michael and everyone, Dan, JC, Brett, who's also been on asking questions, and Kat, as always, your participation is welcome, and congratulations to Ellie for winning a copy of The Other Passenger by JE Rowney. That's it for this week. We will see you next Monday for Mystery Thriller Monday. I believe we'll be going back to our regular scheduled time, which is
2 hours later.
7 Central, 8 East.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Is that right? Yeah, it's 2 hours later than this one.
And
All
one
right.
more thing.
Bye, everyone. Oh, one more thing.
No, just Ellie, if when you read that book, if you could share it with a post and mention our book club and JE Rowney, that would be so great.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks,
everyone.
Holly. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.